Okay, guys, sorry for my voice. First of all, I'm a little sick, and this might be in a part two or part, I don't know. Depends on multiple stuff like my phone storage, YouTube, how long it takes for YouTube to upload stuff. But yeah, this is the entire Fnaf lore, almost. We start with William Afton and Henry Emily. William Afton has kids, two of them boys, one of them girls. One is named Michael Afton. The other boy one is speculated to be first name is speculated to be Evan, and the daughter's name is Elizabeth. Henry and William team up to make Fredbear's Family Diner. William Afton would focus on the robotics, while Henry would focus on keeping the restaurant afloat and making the profit and like distributing the money in between stuff that the place needed. There were two main animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, who had a spring lock mechanism. Basically, there would be a bunch of like springs with sharp edges. Like it would be a spring and then it would have like something really sharp, like, I think you can imagine that, right? All over it. And apparently to get in the suit, you would need to wind it up from the back, open it up, get in there, and then put it down. And yeah, that would pretty much be it. But there were some restrictions. First of all, you couldn't move that much. Too much rapid movement could cause the spring locks to go off. Breathing too much could cause the spring locks to go off. Like a normal pace would be good, but an excessive amount would set them off. And any kind of liquid would set it off, right? So then they would eject and go all into your body. And I can see, and it's speculated that two employees died in the suits, one in Fredbear, one in Spring Bonnie. And that their bodies were dragged out and the suit was clean, but they're still to live as Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy. It's speculated, I don't really know that much on that part though. But yeah. And then it turns out that it's Chris's birthday, and he's gonna celebrate it at Fazbear's. But he hates Fazbear's. He really does, because his brother would get a Foxy mask speculated to be torn off or taken off of Evan's Foxy plushie and scare him with it. Now Chris did have a Fredbear plushie, but it was actually a microphone. You can see it had eyes and would follow you around. And then in sister location, we figured out that it was actually a device listener. It would listen on Evan, made by William Afton to keep him safe. Right? So yeah, and it's getting a little too technical already, but yeah, Chris goes to Fredbear's and he's already scared of it, and then Michael Afton and all his friends, who each have a mask of either Freddy, Bonnie, Chico, Foxy. You might be wondering, wait, how did they get those masks? There's only Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, so there's no way they could make they would make like practically 5 new mascots just to sell a couple masks. And you're correct. There was actually a show called Fredbear's Family Diner that featured all these characters, and it was cheaply made, of course. So yeah, that's how they got them. Those characters would be featured in the show, either be sold as plushies or be sold as masks separately. And then Michael and his gang decided, oh, maybe he should kiss Fredbear, and they put him in his mouth, right? But then a spring lock failure occurred, right? A spring lock failure occurred, so the spring locks went off. But wanna know what else went off? The head. The head was opened up to sing like you know that, to like sync it with the song. when the spring locks went off, what would happen is that if the top jaw was open, it would be rapidly shut down. So if you got impaled in the spring locks while wearing the suit, and the jaw was up, it would and the spring locks went off, it would be like really fast and really hard. And that's what happened because of that spring lock failure. And Fredbear bit on Chris Evans, heavily damaging or pretty much breaking his frontal lobe. Right? And this is where it gets a bit icky, but I think before that sister location opened up, right? It was called Circus Baby's Pizza World. And basically it featured Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, and Funtime Foxy. The new Funtime animatronics that were designed completely by William Afton for his own location, you know? But it turns out these animatronics each had their own specialness. They were made to capture children. Even in the blueprints of Funtime Freddy, we can see a child presumably in his storage tank. That's why Funtime Freddy's storage tank is so big. Funtime Foxy can mimic voices. Circus Baby has a giant claw to make ice cream, but it can also grab kids. So basically, William Afton took his daughter, which is a dumb move already, and then when all the kids were gone, she went to go get ice cream for Circus Baby, but then that mechanism went off and tried to, and killed her, grabbed her in, and then it pulled her in her stomach and then sealed her off. But why would William Afton do this? Because he wanted to live forever. In the books, it turns out that William Afton was doing all this so then that way he could figure out the key to immortality. Right? So yeah, boom, his daughter dies, and somehow Chris found out, either from the news, but I don't think it was from the news because the place closed down before any investigations could be done or any suspicions could be arose, and William Afton blamed it on gas leaks. So he probably heard his parents arguing over it or something, and then he found out somehow that happened. So yeah, now we cut back. Now he just lost his frontal. He just lost his frontal lobe, and he was carried to the hospital, and he was in a coma. And basically, he would have dreams about nightmares because he was terrified of all those animatronics except Fredbear and maybe Spring Bonnie because of that Fredbear plush, and Spring Bonnie's close association of Fredbear. Actually, no, never mind that. He was scared of all of them practically, right? And we know this because of Fredbear. No, I forgot his name, but he's like a nightmare version of Fredbear, right? So yeah. And I actually have one piece of evidence supporting that Elizabeth Afton died before the events of the coma, because we can see on Nightmare Fredbear, that he has claws in his stomach, which is a really weird detail. You might be, oh, it's scary, but none of the other animatronics have that. Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Freddy, even Nightmare Ray and Ned don't have it. The only two animatronics who have it is Nightmare Fredbear and then the other one, like the black version, right? And Nightmare Balloon Boy is in canon. So yeah, and I guess Plush Shop could be like a twisted version of Spring Bonnie. But yeah, so yeah, that's my main evidence because, boom, Fredbear and Nightmare and the Nightmare and then the black version of Nightmare Fredbear all have teeth right here. Like it almost looks like it could open and grab something. Like literally, there's one line of teeth and then another line. And it seems like that could be opened up to grab something, kind of like Circus Baby. So that's why I think Elizabeth died before Chris Evans. Okay? What else? Yeah. So then that happens. And boom, Fredbear's is, how do I say this? Fredbear's is under investigation, I would say. Now this is why more my memory gets cloudy, because I've been focusing on the new parts of law that are currently being developed instead of focusing more on the old part. So I would say, what William Afton does is that, Henry Emily opens up a new location called, basically Toy Freddy, Toy Bunny, all of them, right? And then William Afton kills kids. Basically, it's theorized that, those withered animatronics, they were, actually, no, it's pretty much confirmed that the withered animatronics were prototypes for the toy ones, but then they were deemed too scary. And they even started retrofitting them with the newest tech. So now they're just used for spare parts, which is why they're so broken. Okay? So what William Afton does is that he kills 5 or maybe 6 children, I would say. 5, 6 children, somewhere in between that. And he puts them in the, I would say he puts them in the suits, right? So then the police can't find them. And then when Henry Emily knows, and then when Henry figures this out, he makes a security bot, basically the puppet, right, to protect his daughter from William Afton, but it fails. Basically, the security puppet can't get out of its box when it detects Henry is in danger, because either someone random or an employee or William Afton stacked the top with boxes. So he lures Henry's daughter outside and kills her and then speeds off. But the security puppet manages to break out, and then he goes to her, but he's slowly breaking apart because of the rain. And then he finally breaks, right? He's on the ground like he's malfunctioning a lot on top of Henry's daughter. And then their souls fuse together, and Henry's daughter is now in the puppet. Right? But Golden Freddy's a little tricky, right? I would like to say, it was like Fredbear was left to rot, which is actually supported in it. The phone guy says that they were left to rot, but and then and Golden Freddy is just a heavily broken version of Fredbear. But there's too many differences. Actually, no, there's not that many. I'll do some more research on it, and if I got something wrong, I'll do the best to correct it. But basically, yeah, boom. Yeah. And then something bad also happens. Mangle, the toy version of Foxy, is broken. Basically, she's a put back together part. Customers' kids would take Mingle apart and put it back together. It's kind of familiar, but yeah. So yeah, and then the employee just stopped fixing her because she would end up broken again. But this caused a huge malfunction and caused her to bite the frontal lobe or bite the general head of the daytime security guard, thus closing the place for investigation. Okay, and then Henry takes the withered animatronics, or the prototype, fixes them up, and then makes a new location. But of course, it doesn't get that much traction. Like, would you go to? Actually, never mind. But a lot of people would say yes, because nobody would want to go to a place with a murderous history about kids, multiple kids gone missing, kids actually being seen killed at that location by either someone or an animatronic, right? But who was this? A kid who got for Fnaf 2? Michael Afton. Basically, what happened was that Michael Afton was told by William Afton that Elizabeth was still alive. So he goes into the underground rental bunker where William Afton puts the animatronics for rent for like special birthday parties and stuff. And he goes there, and then there was the animatronics. All the fun times combined to make Ennard crawl into your body and use you to escape. But then they find out that the body is rotting, so they abandon ship, but you're still alive. So you get this purplish skin, which I think would explain why the withered animatronics would attack you, because they think you're Michael Afton, and the toy animatronics don't have any souls in them. They just think, oh, either this is an endoskeleton without its suit on, or I'm in the wrong room. Or like, oh, this is a robber, right? So yeah, and Michael Afton is seeming to go to every location to free all the souls so then all the souls could be freed. So that's why he works at the previous location, right? And he also goes to the new location. And yeah, and then Cassidy is killed by William Afton and put in the suit. But actually, no, correction, William Afton didn't put him in the suit. In the minigame, we find out that puppets don't put them in the suits because, like, I think they couldn't go to the afterlife because, like, they had to kill their murderer. They'll get revenge. So yeah, Cassidy's putting Golden Freddy, and that's why we actually get fired at Fnaf 1, because we're caught tampering with the animatronics, and it's also called, and we're what else? And we're also fired for odor. You know that bad smell from your armpits? Just like this time from my whole body, which isn't something I think they could fire you for, but yeah. So yeah, and then William Afton realizes that those prototype animatronics have kids in them that are still alive that are trying to kill him. So he grabs his axe, or just generally kills them, or destroys their suits, right? And then the souls begin to attack him, right? Because, oh, sure, they might not have suits, but they can still attack. Just in a limited capacity, and William Afton gets scared, so he goes to one of the secret rooms that's basically invisible to any cameras and invisible to any animatronics. He goes in there, and then he puts on the spring Bonnie suit, and basically he laughs hard. My voice is so I can't do a real laugh, but he laughs, right? And when you laugh, you breathe a lot in and out. So yeah, he was breathing heavily. One of the things that could cause the spring locks to go off, and he was moving rapidly too, like and also the water from the pipes or the leakage in the room got on the suit, causing the spring locks to go off. But why would William Afton go in there? It's because the souls can't damage any animatronics. Oh well, at least he thought. But yeah, boom. He's stuck in that spring lock suit. And then boom, the souls are avenged. And then another company, and then basically, oh, how did Fnaf 3 happen? Did somebody buy the rights? And now, basically, Fazbear Entertainment really couldn't do anything because most of the locations were closed or related to very bad things. So basically, another company decided to cash in, and they made a horror attraction on all the stories of Freddy Fazbear's. Now, honestly, why didn't they just sue him? Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't have permission. They would make bank off it, but yeah. And then what happens is that, well, They fit it with like old tech and stuff to make it seem real. They found old voice memos from like the phone guy. And then they actually managed to find Springtrap now, in a sealed room, and they use him as as a part of the attraction. But guess who's hired? Michael Afton. He realizes that he's avenged most of the souls, so he tries to bend the place down. Many people say it could be the puppet, but no, it's not. It's Michael Afton. He burns the place down, and want to know how he escaped? How he lived? It's because he was right next to the exit. That's literally why. The exit was like, he would just have to walk out of his office, turn this way, and there would be an exit. So he puts the place on fire, and he gets out that building. But that's a stupid idea in the first place. Okay, like, first of all, he could leave through any exit. You didn't barricade any of them. He could just leave. And I'm pretty sure he might be strong enough to punch a hole in the wall and then do it again. And eventually make one big enough for him to leave. Or either the fire would have damaged the walls heavily enough for Springtrap to break through them and just walk out. Or it would or eventually the fire would destroy a huge chunk of the wall. So he would just be able to leave like that. And even then, I'm pretty sure some of the roofs were short. Like, he's a tall man, bro. He's a tall man. If one of the roofs broke, he could have a high chance of just crawling out of there. So, yeah. Springtrap obviously survives. Right? Then Henry realizes this. So he makes a new pizzeria. But it's really just a lure. Basically, in our contract, we're told that we have to gather all the animatronics in the alleyway into the building. Right? We have to do it. And that's a canon ending. We do it, and then the place is set on fire, and we're told that there was actually a way out for, Michael Afton, but he would probably like to die. Because, like, bro, every second of his life is probably pain. And also, if there was an exit, Michael Afton would probably just walk through it and leave the door open. Then all the other animatronics would just walk out. Or he would close the door, but there would be an obvious exit. Or, he wouldn't close whatever the way out was. So the animatronics would seem like, oh, all right, let's go. Oh, wait, but where's the puppet? The puppet is actually there. Basically, we find out that, the lefty animatronic is actually the puppet, right? Basically, it was made to lure, put the puppet in, and then trap her inside. Springtrap's now burn trap things to the fire. Scrap Baby, what happened is that Ennard and the gang got tired of Baby, right? Like, she was being so commanding and stuff, so they kicked her out. And then they decided to give Freddy the control, right? So now Scrap Baby made her own body. And then literally, Ennard was now just a pile of spaghetti wires with a Freddy head on it. I'm pretty sure it's either like a prop there, or like a prop somehow at the Fazbear Frights, or just Fun Time Freddy's mask. Either one of those. I highly doubt the last one though, because the place wasn't set on fire. But yeah, so boom, they all die, or we think. Sure, the fire doesn't actually kill William Afton. We actually learn out that Cassidy is still alive. Basically, she's now torturing William Afton. We thought that William Afton was in hell. This was his own purgatory. No. Basically, William Afton is still alive, and he's just in a hospital bed. And basically, even the doctors are trying to kill him. Like, literally, he's been through 2 fires. He was spring locked. Like, a spring was inserted almost everywhere in his body. He was burned 2 times. Like, put this man out of his misery. But then Cassidy won't let them. She just wants to torture William Afton over and over and over and over again, right? That's what UCN is. And even Old Man Consequences like, yo, man, you should stop. Cassidy's like, nah, you. But I actually did that on purpose. Don't want to have to mark this. No never kids. But yeah, right. So that happens. But then apparently William Afton put a part of him, either his consciousness, spirit, soul, something like that, in the circuit boards, which was salvaged. And then you Fnaf have wanted viewer game. Oh yeah. Let's capitalize on a bunch of murders. Oh, we don't give up. But yeah, Fazbear Entertainment tried to make a virtual reality game to, like, dismiss all the horror stories and, like, poke fun at them and move on. But what happened was that William Afton circuit boards that he was scanned in, or part of him was actually scanned in too. It was either salvaged or it was brought from, like, the higher ups, and they were told it would speed up the progress, which it did, according to Vanessa, aka Vanny, But yeah. So William Afton is now glitch trapped. He's inside that game and he brainwashes Vanessa, or Vanny, one of the test players for the game. Right? And either we're Vanny or, like, we're another person testing it and we're getting control too. But yeah, that happens. Right? And then he escapes. Basically, Vanessa is promoted to the new megaplex, right? But basically, William Afton deleted all the files on it, so even if she got curious, she wouldn't know what apparently happened. And then yeah, but how was she even promoted? Glitch trap. That's literally it. He managed to do it, right? And there's even various letters saying that Vanessa isn't qualified enough for this job. We even see, like, oh, somebody broke in, smashed a glass, and grabbed something. Should I file a police report? Yes, you should. That's common practice. Like, oh, maybe Fazbear Entertainment wouldn't want it because, I mean, they've done this stuff, like, in the past. But, like, why wouldn't you do it immediately? Like, what? Are they going to get you in trouble for doing something, for doing the first thing when something of yours gets stolen? Or something gets stolen? No, it'll be very hard for them to do that. So, yeah, basically, Vanny and Glitch App realized that this was built upon the pizzeria. The map have figured it out, and he said that the basement, or, like, the area we go in to, like, meet Glitch Trap was the pizzeria. It was the Fnaf 6 game, right? The one where all of them burned finally to